Although initially applied to Annie Strong, in this part we have the first reference to David's undisciplined heart being governed by his emotions rather than reason. He's still passion's slave though, and wisdom will only develop with the passing of time. What are Dora's accomplishments? What can she do? In their efforts to ape the aristocracy, the upper middle classes cultivated an over-refined and effete cult of gentility, of which Dora is the unwitting victim. The premise was that she would marry into money and have servants who did everything for her. Her finishing school taught her to tra-la-la while strumming a guitar, paint flowers and hold polite conversation about nothing. Her only independently acquired accomplishment seems to be the limited set of tricks that she's taught, very badly, to Jip. Former British Prime Minister Sir Robert Peel, famed for inaugurating the police force and lending his name to two slang terms for policemen, peelers and bobbies, fell off his horse on Constitution Hill in London and died. Dickens regretted his loss, comparing Peel favourably with the great dust heap of imbeciles and dandies who were left in Parliament. No change there then, over 170 years later. In this month, the long-running Taiping Rebellion broke out in China. It would continue intermittently for the next 15 years and was the bloodiest war in the entire 19th century, with casualties estimated to be as many as 20 million dead on all sides by the time the rebels were finally defeated. Dickens took a pleasure trip to Paris at the end of June in the company of artist Daniel Maclise, returning on the 1st of July. He then spent the whole month in London writing to the Watsons, to whom he dedicated Copperfield, that everyone is cheering David on, and I hope to make your book a good one. I like it very much myself, thoroughly believe it all, and go to work every month with an energy of the fiercest description. Need a change of air? Or maybe a change of water? Then the Copperfield Advertiser has just the place for you. Dr. James Ellis's hydropathic establishment, just outside London at Sudbrook Park near Richmond. No need whatsoever to be sceptical about the efficacy of the treatment, as we can read that all diseases curable, and many incurable by any previously known means, can be safely and successfully treated by a proper application of the water cure alone. There was the very slight inconvenience that one of the patients died during the cure, and Ellis was tried for manslaughter. He was charged but cleared and carried on with his practice, welcoming many distinguished guests, including Charles Darwin. The names of some of Dickens's minor characters are little more than speaking names, like Mr. Greatheart in Pilgrim's Progress or Shallow and Slender in Shakespeare's Merry Wives of Windsor. From his name alone we can tell that Jack Maldon will be a bad lot, and that his aunt, Mrs. Markleham, will try to mar or confuse the situation. Aunt Betsy, who acts like a Greek chorus and incidentally appears to be surprisingly well read, even comments that Mrs. Markleham is a marplot, that being a reference to a character who bears that name in an obscure Restoration comedy of 1709 entitled The Busybody. Behold the chaotic dinner table scene featuring David, Dora, Traddles and Jip knocking things off the table. Fizz has excelled himself here in his attention to detail. There's even a pickle jar on the bookshelf, suggesting that the newlyweds are themselves in a pickle. Dora tried to please her darling Dodie by buying his favourite delicacy, oysters, but sadly knows nothing about how to serve or eat them. "Dodie," said Dora, "I bought a beautiful little barrel of them, and the man said they were very good, but I'm afraid there's something the matter with them. They don't seem right." Here Dora shook her head, and diamonds twinkled in her eyes. "They're only opened in both shells," said I. "Take the top one off, my love." "But it won't come off," said Dora, trying very hard and looking very much distressed. "Do you know, Copperfield," said Traddles, cheerfully examining the dish, I think it's in consequence, they're capital oysters, but I think it is in consequence of their never having been opened." They never had been opened, and we had no oyster knives and couldn't have used them if we had. So we looked at the oysters and ate the mutton. Here the solicitous Mr. Dick uses his gentle skill as an intermediary to effect a reconciliation between Dr. Strong and Annie, bringing the rather tedious subplot to a satisfactory conclusion. A straightforward question to conclude with. Who are the incapables? I say, who stole my cup?